So you're thinking about buying Persona 5 Royal on the Nintendo Switch, and you're trying to decide, is this the right choice or the right path for you? Whether you're about to hit pre-order, you already have a pre-order that is going to be fulfilled and ship out very soon, or you're just simply still on the fence about a purchase or about what console to make your purchase on, as the next-gen, new-gen versions of Persona 5 Royal are very enticing as they have a 60 frames per second mode. But the reasons to get this on the Nintendo Switch are plentiful, but there are some pros and there are some cons, which we're going to go over in this video here today. What's going on, everybody? I am Dom, and I am from The Game Looters, and today I'm looking to bring you all the information you need to know when making a purchasing decision for one of the best games ever created, Persona 5 Royal. So without further ado, let's get into the list. Number 1, and this is just overall, if you stop watching the video here, the thing to know about Persona 5 Royal on the Nintendo Switch is it runs really well. I am about 25 hours into another run in Persona 5 Royal, and there's virtually nothing that I would de-recommend Persona 5 Royal on the Nintendo Switch. That leads me into number 2, which we're going to just really talk about performance, where a lot of this is going to be kind of skewed towards performance. So number 2 is you're going to find out that when you have the Persona 5 Royal game docked, it's going to run in, like, it seems like in a dynamic resolution. It seems to be capping out at about 900p. It could also be 720p in the more demanding scenes, but you're going to get a very nice looking sharp picture on your 4K screen, 1080p screen. It's going to be a very nice picture. That leads me into number 3. Overall, the picture, especially when blown up on a very large screen, it is a little bit soft in certain areas. But when I say in certain areas, I mean in like large congested areas. Like if you are running around and you're in the central plaza and you're about to take the train, you know, it's going to be a little bit soft in certain scenes, but you're not really going to notice it because you're going to be typically moving around so much. The positive is it's not blurry whatsoever like games like before, like The Witcher, where Vaseline spread all over them. It's just a tiny bit soft in certain areas. That's going to lead me into number 4. The thing to know about the Nintendo Switch version is this is a 30 frames per second cap. Now, this is no big deal, as all the last versions of the game on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro, and even the current PlayStation 5 version before the actual next-gen version is released, were all capped at 30 frames per second. So, a person like me, who I've played Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal almost 10 times, I notice virtually no difference whatsoever. Now, I will say that after you play the next-gen version and you come back to this one, there probably will be a notable difference, because going from 60 frames to 30 frames can be a little jarring. But the thing to know about Persona 5 Royal is because of the type of game it is, with it being a turn-based style game, the 60 frames per second mode is really only going to come into play when you are exploring the metaverse, when you are exploring the palaces, when you are, walking around town. But otherwise, as long as the 30 frame per second mode is solid, and on the Nintendo Switch it is absolutely solid, you're not really going to be wanting or needing that 60 frame mode too much. Unless you're a 60 frame snob, then of course, please go get the next gen versions. That leads me into the next thing, which is number 5. The cutscenes seem to be loaded in a higher resolution. I can't exactly pixel count and say that they're 1080p, but to my eye, they seem like they are the 1080p versions. There is a little nice bump in the cutscenes when they do appear on screen. That also does tend to go to all the overlays. The overlays also seem to be in a 1080p font, so that's going to include the menus and all the overlays, lower thirds, everything that seems to be on screen seems to be loaded in a very HD resolution, and this does include while you have a docked experience. So even when you're docked, the overlays seem to be in a higher resolution. That's going to lead me into number 6. And number 6 is fast loading times. I played this on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 originally, and loading times for the most part, are pretty quick, but they are even faster on the Nintendo Switch. That leads me into number 7, HD Rumble. Having HD Rumble on your Joy-Cons or on your Pro Controller is very nice. I think one of the things that the Switch is most unique for is that HD Rumble. I think it's very unnoticeable, but when you notice it, it's really, really cool. That leads me into number 8. It's just so cool to play on the Nintendo Switch. Now that might sound silly, but being able to simply be playing on your television and you undock your game and you go lay on the couch, you go lay on your bed, or you go out of the house and you continue your experience elsewhere, I have found it to be very, very awesome. And it reminds me of my PlayStation Vita days when playing through Persona 4 Golden for the first time. I was just kind of playing that game around the house everywhere, and it was just awesome. So playing Persona 5 Royal on the Nintendo Switch is one of my favorite experiences ever. To a game that was already one of my favorite experiences ever, it just elevates it that much more to know that I can easily dock or undock at any given time. That's going to lead me into number 9. Now this is going to be a con or a detractor. One thing I have to let you know is when you are playing for long periods of time, I typically play in 2 to 4 hour stretches. I'm typically playing right before bed. I'm usually up to about 11 p.m. I usually start playing at around 6 or 7 o'clock. When you're doing large stretches, I have noticed, and this could just be very much my experience, but I have to let you know, that the game does constantly disconnect from the network. Why does this matter? There are a lot of built-in network features in Persona 5 Royal, including trying to answer the answers on tests or just trying to see on what you should do next. And it's very nice to go and look at the network and just see what other players have done in their given and respective time. Did they read a book? Did they go to the bathhouse? Did they go to the batting cages? Just know that it's going to disconnect from the network pretty frequently. When this happens, you have to do one of two things. You can either save and just completely restart your game and it'll reconnect to the network from the main menu, or you can go into the main menu, you can go into the configuration options, and you can toggle on the network option once again. But this is just something to know because it's been pretty annoying for long stretches of play. This also is going to include if you left your Switch on sleep mode, it won't automatically reconnect to the network. Because you're choosing to play on the Nintendo Switch, there are no trophies or achievements. So if you have played this game or have heard about it in the past, trophy hunting was something that was really, really fun in Persona 5 Royal. I myself have the Platinum, and it's really fun to do the Platinum run in the PlayStation version, because there are things like buying all the items from the vending machines, hitting a home run for the first time, catching a certain type of fish, going out and defeating the Reaper. So there are a lot of different really cool things that you can do via the achievement system on the PlayStation. And because you're choosing to play this on the Switch, just know that there are no achievements. So doing things are going to be just for yourself. Another detractor here. And that's going to be that all the DLC is there, so there's not going to be any extra money that is needed. But all the DLC minus the Raido Kuzunoha stuff is there. For some reason, they decided to leave out the Raido Kuzunoha actual outfits, and the outfits are non-existent in this version for some reason. So just note that the original version of Persona 5 Royal has more items or more music, more BGMs, and more outfits than this one. Now, personally, I never really played with those ones on, but I have dabbled in the past, and it's just one of those things that is kind of sad to see. Alright, my friends, I hope this video helped you out with deciding if you're going to buy Persona 5 Royal on the Nintendo Switch or not, or if you're going to skip. Whatever you're going to do, simply let me know in the comments down below. I would be very interested to find out what you're going to do on the Nintendo Switch, or if you're going to go for one of the new gen versions. Thank you for watching my video. I hope this helped you out, and we'll see you on the next Persona video very soon. Peace out, my friends.